My first experience with church is the same as many others. I remember going to church as a child with my mom and grandparents. My dad would attend church occasionally. I attended Sunday school regularly and really enjoyed the friends I made. At the age of 7, one Sunday morning, the preacher gave an altar call. He asked, if I died today, did I know I was going to heaven? The answer was no. I prayed to receive Christ that very moment. I stayed involved at church for many years until I became a teenager. I started hanging out with the wrong crowd. I began experimenting with drugs and alcohol. I found acceptance with the wrong crowd during an awkward time in my life. After graduating high school, I went to work for my father. I moved out at the age of 19. I had a newfound freedom. This came with consequences. I began a downward spiral in my life. In the middle of my 20s, I met my wife-to-be. After a couple of years of dating, I was still making poor choices. The relationships I had began to fall apart. At this time, I began to search for a solution to my problems. Drugs and alcohol were not making me happy anymore. I felt I had hit rock bottom. I was desperate, and through the help of others, they encouraged me to turn to the Lord for help. I know now many were praying for me. Tanya and I began to attend a local church. We both began to put God first in our lives. Things were looking up with our relationship, and I asked Tanya to marry me. After meeting with a preacher, I decided to rededicate my life to the Lord. This started a new journey. I realized He never left me. I had abandoned Him. Still, through it all, I know that He was protecting me. After getting married, we started attending Summit. We had our first child, Miranda, in 1998. It didn't take long to realize that I had to rely on God even more. I had no idea how to raise a child, so we had 2 more children, Jack and Ansley. My relationship with my children has taught me God's unconditional love for us. He continues to teach me through them daily. In 2006, we felt the Lord calling us to join Church at the Grove. It has been a blessing to our family. I have met many people with similar testimonies. Being in small group has allowed us to build relationships. It also allowed me to share my experience as well as learn from others. I have realized the more I rely on God and the less I rely on myself, the better it turns out. Like the verse my son often reminds me of, I can do all things through Christ which strengthens me, even when you turn 40, Dad.